Hello, welcome to the Sovereign Magazine Show, transformational experience where conscious conversations meet embodied wisdom. Each episode invites visionary healers, thought leaders, and change makers to share their journeys of awakening, offering listeners practical tools and soul-stirring insights to reclaim their inner authority. We are back with the beautiful Ebonie Allard, who is here on a year-long journey talking about the Kismet Codes and embodying your design. And if you missed episodes 1 through 6, we have talked all about what is embodying your design, types and profiles, and incarnation crosses and centers and values and shadows. And today we're going to be talking about embodying your Kismet code and understanding your soul's contract. So, Ebonie, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thank you. I am Ebonie Allard, aka Ebonie Alchemy, and part of the alchemy is the continual evolution and alchemizing whatever life throws at me. And that means, or it doesn't mean, but I have been self employed my whole life, never had a proper job, never done the kind of corporate and then transitioned, have always been a kind of example of self authority and like really honoring my soul contract and being like, no, I can't do that. And I love this work because once we understand that there is a map, there is a blueprint, there is a soul contract, it's like, at least for me and in my experience, it's like just able to relax into, oh, this is who I am and this is who I'm not, and that's okay. And I was just writing a post about being full of yourself and what that means. And 15 years ago, I wrote a book called Misfit to Maven. And the subtitle of that was Create a Life that is as unique and extraordinary as you are, that feels as good on the inside as it perhaps looks on the outside. And I felt like a misfit, and I was on a journey of becoming Maven. And now my work focuses on becoming full of yourself because my south node is in Aquarius, my north node is in Leo, and that journey in my life, part of my soul contract, is going from feeling like a misfit, Aquarius, right the way through to owning the stage and becoming full of myself. And none of that is like on purpose. None of it's like, oh, well, this is what the stars say, so this is how I'm going to be. This is how I've lived. And oh, look, my contract backs all of it up. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And it's a little bit of an intro to who I am and what I'm about.
You are amazing, of course. And I'm so happy to say, look what arrived.
Yay!
If you don't have her amazing book, so one of the things that Ebony has talked about on this show is
Yeah.
that there is so much to learn about yourself. And I've always said to her, I learn it like 8 billion thousand times and I still can't remember. But there is this process that Ebony talks about, and it's you will integrate it when you're ready. And a lot of integration happens from you when I can write it down. So I was so excited when her book arrived.
Mm.
And now I can start going through the process of really trying to understand my soul contract and my codes and everything. So, why don't you share a little bit more about what you want to talk about?
Well, so this book, which I have and you have, is the every I love it. I've never been good at a succinct title. It's the Everything Soul Contract Cheat Codes Guidebook Part One. And what I wanted to put in it is all of those pieces that we have talked about and that we will continue to talk about that make up what is your soul contract, or why do I synthesize, or what is human design and astrology and the gene keys and shadow work, like all of those different pieces. And it is a lot of information. And the information is irrelevant. It's interesting. And one of the things that I care really, really deeply about is integration and implementation over information. And I've always felt that way. And as a kind of old school coach, I've always been very much into we have an RAS. It's this little bit that reticular activating system lives in the base of our spine. And it's that part that if someone talks about a red bus, you then see a red bus all day, or how you never see pregnant women anywhere, but then you're pregnant or your family member is, and suddenly everywhere. That is the RAS. It's you put something into it, and then it spots it everywhere, reinforces it. and it's only activated in real life. And we activate that part of our own salience every time we write something down, and we don't get it the same way with technology, with a phone or with a computer. And so I've always designed my stuff to be like tangible, so you can learn something but then actually apply it to yourself, make it personal. And so this book has got lots of different places where you can write stuff in, and you don't have to do it in order, and you can be like, oh, this is interesting, is this in here, and then write a little bit in. And the idea is that it becomes like a your cheat codes, right? Like you're like, oh, I know about the Venus sequence. What's that? And then go in and kind of find it. So you don't need to worry about learning it all or trying to understand it. Like it will drop in at their own time. And yeah, I'm excited that you've got yours.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It arrived, I think at the end of last week, and so I'm going to spend some time going through it. And I think the word or words, I should say, soul contract are thrown around so much right
Yeah.
now. And I think that for me, you define it in such a way that feels what's the right word? Tangible. It feels something I can work with, right? Whereas, like, oftentimes others have said soul contract, and I'm like, oh, it's just something out there that has something, and that's all I get from it, right? Whereas this, I really truly feel like as I have learned about my design and things like that, it is a confirmation that it all lives within me. And it's just confirmation of things that I've already known, but maybe dismissed, or maybe perhaps I'm learning about myself.
I knew this before anyone else told me it. And I've spoken to children who like talk about their last mummy, or their the life before this life, right before anyone's informed them of anything like that. And when I was really young, I knew in my body, in my cells, in my bones, that we come from somewhere, and then we kind of go through what I call the sea of forgetting, and that is the embryonic fluid, right? You're like, the sea of the forgetting is the womb, and you're in there for 9 months, right? And you forget everything of where we came from, and what it is like to be oneness and collective consciousness, and you become part of your lineage, and you become part of your mother's DNA, and all of that kind of thing. And then you are born, and when we're born, for the first year, and a little bit beyond that, but like the first 18 months, but the first year, we are our mother, if that's available to us and ideal, is our nervous system. And in numerology, we've got the oneness of things. The way I do numerology is like looking at the oneness of things, and then the two-ness of things, and then the three-ness of things. So up until one, we are still soul in human form, and kind of, looking at our, like focusing our eyes and looking at our hands and trying to eat our feet and being like, what is this? Right. And then we get to two, and that's what kind of one in numerology, and like in all of these places, it means pioneering, it means fresh start, it means individuation, it means like all of that stuff of the oneness of things. And when we get to two, the first thing that happens when we get to two is no. How many 2-year-olds, get these little words, no, I do it, no. And it's the beginning of separation. It's the negative mind, it's the longing to belong, and it's like this idea of unity. And we can only have unity if we have separation. We can only have together if we're apart. And this thing that happens is duality. It's like, I want you to like be me, but let me do it. And that, we want to be the lover and the manager. And that's what the frequency of two is. When we get to three, it's we can create, we can add to. And 3-year-olds can lie before they're two, before they're three. They can't lie, and it's not lying; it's creating, it's adding to. What happens if I put this in, right? And we can go on and on and on and on, and all of these have correlations. And so it's all there. And essentially, our soul was part of collective consciousness, and it got the honor of being born into a lineage, into a body, and having a like earth school experience. And we designed the exact curriculum for the things that we wanted to experience. And when we have a physical body, we can have physical experiences, right? Sensation, feeling, and emotion. If we didn't have it, we wouldn't have emotion. And emotion is energy in motion, it's moving in waves through us to each other and through our body. And so our incarnation intentions are to have a physical and emotional experience and then express that for the greatest and highest good of all. Because when we express, we either do what you're doing, which is nodding and being like, oh my God, yes, yes, and affirming and belong and connect, or we're like, no. And then, right, like then we're triggered and then that creates a expansion. And so there's this beautiful thing, the relationship create through expression, whether that's art or conversations or drawing or dance or whatever it is, we express so that we can learn and expand together from each other. And then the other part of our soul contract or our incarnation intentions, and is that we also said that we would take some of the collective karma, some of the collective waste product, and mulch it. Now, in nature, after something is, if it's waste product, after it's lived, it dies, right? It mulches into the earth, and Gaia mulches it back into something else. It decays and then it's born again. We get fertilizer, in fact. And as human beings, we take each other's waste, energy, the shadow stuff, and we are able to mulch it by giving light, giving love, giving compassion, and embracing it. The lowest vibrative frequency is shame, and so often the kind of shadow is like, oh, I'm ashamed of that, or I'm ashamed of that. And so when we are able to embrace it and love it and put the light of our eyes and our heart into it, then we are doing our bit for collective consciousness and expansion. And we don't have, contrary to popular belief, we don't have all the karma in the world. And karma isn't like, well, you did this, now you're going to do that. It's like we've all got a bit. And the way I see our soul contracts, I can see, or we can see very clearly using the gene keys, which or what karma, which shadows we have agreed to work with. And so when I talk about the shadows, and I've said this before, I look at it as seeds, blooms, and fruit, which then seed and then go again. But if we start to look at it like that, then life is not a punishment. It's like, what are you going to do with your lot of energy? What are you going to do with this shadow shit? What are you going to fertilize? What are you going to create? What are you going to, if you don't have a divine sacral and you're not here to create, maybe you're here to cultivate. Now, I am a prolific creator. I've got one of the most creative channels, the 59.6. I'm not a weeder. I'm not an editor, right? Like I'm not, I don't know what to do with the thing. I'm like, I've got a glass of apples. Will someone make juice? And that's where we can all come together and it gets to be really, really interesting.
It does. It does. And I love learning about design because you and I have had this conversation before about how much we complement each other.
Mm.
And also I've learned that we can sample other people's energy in order to make our not self, if you will, or our undefined areas more enhanced, right? And so as I have learned about that in throughout this series, I've realized when I'm sampling and when I'm in my truest essence, or when I'm having a wobble, and what can I use to help me get up back on track. And I think for me, when I look back at my very amateurish entrepreneur self, I knew I was meant to be an entrepreneur. There was no doubt in that, but it was the what and not necessarily the how. I wasn't ever worried about the how, but it was the what. And I just kept trying to do what I knew other people were doing and what was working, which was coaching, right? And I'm naturally one that loves to give advice and things like that. And I love to hear people's stories. And I was like, oh, that fits. But it really didn't until I learned my human design. And then,
Mm.
of course, owning a magazine fit all of it. But I didn't know that at the time until I built this empire. And you've solidified that for me along the way. But as I dig even more and more and more into the details of my design, I'm learning how much I do or don't live in alignment with what I am here to do. And I feel like it's almost like the yellow brick road to being full of yourself is this candy land, right? And oh, there's that piece of chocolate. And oh, let's try this piece of candy over there. And like it just gets better and you get like this massive gingerbread house at the end, right?
I know. And like when people, and you've heard me say it before, but I'm going to say it again because it's such a perfect time to say it. If you are not head over heels in love with yourself, you don't know yourself well enough.
Mhm.
And it's really that simple. And as we're recording this, I will share it. As we're recording this, I made a big decision this morning and I actioned something that I thought I really wanted to do, and I do want to do it. But as soon as I said the words, I got really emotional. So my book that I published, Misfit to Maven, that I published in 2014, is being unpublished, right? They're giving me the rights back and we're unpublishing it. And I suddenly realized what that meant. Like in my head, it was like, okay, I'm taking control of it, I'm having it back, and we're going to move it to somewhere else. But in that moment, I was like, oh my God, it's going to disappear from everywhere and no one will be able to buy it. And I'm going to do a second edition. And that kind of made me look back at how far I've come and like what has changed and what hasn't. And in that book, I share that I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I couldn't catch my own eye in a mirror for more than 2 or 3 seconds without vomiting. And people are always surprised, much more now. And in my spaces, but they're like, because you're so confident and you just like you show up and you fully express and you're this and you're that. And I'm like, go read my book. Now you'll have to wait. Or like get it while you can, and then I'm going to do the new one. But this is a journey. It's a journey of meeting yourself. And I'm being curious and like, why can I not hold my gaze? And for me, that the scapegoat was my body. It was always like, you're too fat. And that was like the everything. But I have Chiron in Taurus in the fifth house. So of course, right? That was always going to be the thing. And now it's my medicine. And as we're coming into Chiron being in Taurus again, it's my Chiron return soon. And it's like, oh, look at that journey. And so it's not about trying to hack your soul contract, trying to speed it up, trying to make it different, trying to get it right. And I think we live in such a kind of patriarchal society of, and this is not, it's really not about, capitalism. It's not about men. It's not about any of those things. It's like we live in an extractive and faster and more society that is shifting, changing, evolving. But I really like this idea of understanding that all the Kismet codes are, for me, and in my view and opinion, are correspondence. As above, so below, as within, as without. Not trying to change it, not trying to move it. And one of the things that has really changed for me, I used to believe, or like hoped, assumed, presumed, I don't really know, that like I could manifest anything in the world, that anyone could manifest anything in the world. And I fundamentally do not believe that anymore.
I wonder if you're going to say what you believe. I think I know what you're going to say.
What do you think I'm going to say?
I think that you can manifest not what, not anything in the world, but what is destined for you, what you believe that you can manifest for yourself and what you truly desire. One who says, like, for example, I'll just give you a random one for myself. Uh, I want to be a billionaire. I don't, right? So I wouldn't be able to manifest being a billionaire because I really don't want that. Right. So for me, I just want to be able to live comfortably. Right. So there would be a monetary, let's say $5 million. Just give me 5 million. I'm good. Right. That's what I'd be able to manifest because that's what I believe. Those are my values. Those are my core values. That's what I would think you would say. Am I close or no?
Yeah, yeah. So for me, it's like we have Kismet. Kismet is an old Hebrew, Arabic, Turkish, old, like original language word, which means your lot. And so when people talk about Kismet, they always say, oh, it means destiny, right? Like, oh, we're destined for it's Kismet. But your lot is like, I'm going to give you this lump of clay. What are you going to make with it? I'm going to give you this mum, this dad, this, you're going to be born in this country. You're going to be born at this time. You're going to be born, with blonde hair, with blue eyes, with a predisposition for carrying extra weight. You're going to be short, right? Like, this is my lot in life, right? And what I do with my lot, what I do with my lump of clay, that is up to me. And I can't do anything with my lump of clay, but there is a range of potential. And that range of potential is from like shadow, or not shadow, like the densest, heaviest vibration of like, I don't believe anything's possible for me. It's always going to be just the way it is. I'm going to do what was always done before, and I'm not going to question anything. And that will create your fate.
Mhm.
For me, if you do what is in front of you and you continue in a particular way, you will create your fate. If you follow your align, like work with your energy, understand your alignment, honor your soul contract, move in the way that your energy is designed to move, follow that kind of green light, green light, green light feeling. Allow yourself to be like, I am limited in, or like I'm arguing for my limitations rather than my possibilities, right? Then that's going to lead one way, and then you're like, but I want to like argue for my possibilities, and so I'm going to get some help, or I'm going to ask other people, or I'm going to put myself in a different environment. Then what you're doing is you're watering those seeds. You're giving them life, you're giving them air, you're breathing love into them, you're talking to them every day. And as you do that, that rises the frequency and the vibration, and really, honors the full potential of what is available for you. And then you're going to have a life full of blooms and fruit. And that I call your destiny. So Kismet is like your lot. It's the whole thing. When I talk about the Kismet codes, it's the whole thing of like, this is what you were predestined to experience in your astrology. We can see it in your gene keys. We can see it in, like, it's written. It just is. It's not good. It's not bad. Everyone always goes, is that a good one? It's just is. It's like, it's sky, it's earth, right? It just is. What you do with that, and whether you will live your fate or your destiny, depends on whether you are the authority in your life, or whether you are giving your power away and saying, just tell me what to do. I'll just be a little sheep, lemming soldier. And in which case, that is you living from your not self. And what it means to live from your true self is to be your own authority, to have self mastery and inner leadership. And that means going, but what else am I? And what else am I? And what else am I? And oh, look, because it's not static, everything changes. And so your soul contract isn't sometimes when I say it, people are like, what's, is there someone I'm supposed to meet? Is there somewhere I'm supposed to go? Like, it's like this fancy, like you said, outside of you thing, ethereal, wishy-washy. And and you know this, but like, to me, spirituality is not up there, out there. It's inside the cosmos of our wombs, inside the cells. It's really very fleshy.
In our DNA, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel that on so many levels. And I love that you said the fate versus destiny because there's choice in there, right? I was just saying the other day, had somebody said to me 6 years ago that I would be here, I would have laughed in their face because I was still managing a NICU. And to go from there to here, I would have been like, that's impossible,
Yeah.
right? And so it's just a perfect example of when you make that decision, when you tap into your kismet, your lot, you can change it from a fate to a destiny just by making those micro shifts and changes. And it didn't all happen at once for me. It was just one decision after another after another. And I think that one of the things that I appreciate the most is here, if somebody were to say you're full of yourself, it would be such a negative connotation. It is like one of the worst compliments, if you will, if you want to even say it like that. But it's changing that narrative around, well, of course I'm full of myself and it's not conceited and you should be full of yourself. It's that permission.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether I've shared the story of where that kind of came from, but many, many years ago. And I know that there are still so many kind of entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs who both want to be visible, whatever that means, right? They want more eyes on them and their product and the thing that they're doing. And at the same time, they're terrified because what if I get trolled and what if people don't like me? And that is such a tightrope that so many of us walk. And it's part of entrepreneurship, right? Entrepreneurship is the greatest personal development you'll ever go on. I was at a place and a time in my life where I wanted to run Facebook ads and I was scared. And we ran two different ad sets to two different group of people. And I did a what people are now calling a yapping video, but either way, I was chatting. And it went out and we did it. And both ad sets got a comment on. And that comment said, oh my God, this woman's so full of herself. Both of them. And it was such a like moment for me where I was like, I think I was like, ouch, but also who else should I be full of? And it's that also, it's like that's part of my soul contract was to have that experience, was to have that kind of said to me and have me have a moment of like, you're you're the one with the problem here. Right? Like, what? And also it's like if that's the worst trolling I'm gonna get, which is also just a fact, like you are my whole life. You're so you. You're so unique. Oh, I'll be less me. I'm sorry. It's been that way my whole life, and so part of my soul contract is can I move from apologizing for being charismatic, leonine, fire? It just is. I've got a Leo sun, a Sag moon, Sag rising, a defined will center, a defined throat center. I can't help it. It's the way I'm designed. I'm not
Mhm.
trying to be big and full of myself, but I spent years trying not to be. And that
Mhm.
was unsatisfying and unfulfilling. And so for me, the whole journey of helping people to embody their Kismet codes, understand their soul contract, and become full of themselves is there is nothing to do except be yourself. But most of us have worked actively against that to try and be something else.
Yes. Ah, what a beautiful way to end the show. I'm going to reserve our next topic because you might change it just slightly to fit something. So I'm going to reserve sharing what's coming up next. So it'll be a surprise. So if you haven't liked, shared, subscribed, definitely do all of that. It helps us in the algorithm. All of Ebonie's details are in the show notes. She's also in our community, community.sovereign-magazine.com, where you can connect with her. She has amazing, amazing gifts to this world. And you definitely need more of her so you can become more and full of yourself. All right. We will see you on the next one. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.